Dobry wieczór. Witajcie na sotygodniowym podsumowaniu Polski i Irlandzkiej wiadomości zemne. William Murphy. Headlines in Poland over the past week have included: Prime Minister Morawiecki undertakes an extensive cabinet reshuffle in advance of the autumn general election. Marian Banish is the new finance minister, replacing Teresa Czerwińska, who moves to the board of the central bank. And Poland marks the anniversaries of two seminal events: the historic June 4, 1989 elections and Pope St. John Paul II's triumphant homecoming in 1979. News developments in Ireland have included: supporters and protesters are both well in evidence as President Trump visits Ireland. Sinn Féin calls off the recount in Ireland's south as Líad Ní Riada joins the list of their European and local election casualties. And the Polska Era Festival is in full swing across the country. Zaczynając od Polskiej wiadomości. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki carried out an extensive cabinet reshuffle, which was necessitated by the election to the European Parliament of several high-profile, now former ministers, including his predecessor, Beata Szydło, who was serving as a Deputy Prime Minister, Interior Minister Joachim Brudziński, Family, Labour and Social Policy Minister Elżbieta Rafalska, and Education Minister Anna Zalewska. Following months of speculation that she was uncomfortable with the budgetary impact of some of the social policy measures announced as part of the so-called Kaczynski 5 pledges, Finance Minister Teresa Czerwińska also left the government in the reshuffle, although her departure is being portrayed as a resignation rather than a dismissal. This was reinforced by comments from Jacek Sasin, newly appointed as a Deputy Prime Minister, that Czerwińska had left the public finances in excellent condition and that she would be taking up another important state role. It was subsequently announced that she'd been appointed to the board of the National Bank of Poland. The new finance minister is Marian Banish, who was previously the Deputy Minister in charge of the National Revenue Administration and Customs Service. Underlining the point about the strong economy, today the new Family, Labour and Social Policy Minister, Bożena Borys-Szopa, announced that the unemployment rate in May had fallen to 5.4% from 5.6% in April. She told reporters this marked the lowest monthly jobless rate in Poland since September 1990. Elżbieta Witek is the new Interior Minister, while Dariusz Pątkowski takes over education. A new government spokesperson has also been appointed, with Piotr Müller, previously a Deputy Minister for Science and Higher Education, replacing Joanna Kopinska, who was elected to the European Parliament. The reshuffle is perceived as reflecting the political strength of the Prime Minister, who has established himself as a significant political player. The reshuffle has removed from the government two potential rivals in former Prime Minister Szydło and former Interior Minister Brudziński. While there had been some speculation that his future in cabinet was in doubt, Foreign Affairs Minister Jacek Czaputowicz remains in his post, as does Defence Minister Mariusz Błaszczak. Both ministers' departments are heavily involved in the ongoing discussions with Washington about enhancing the US military presence in Poland, which look to be nearing a conclusion, with President Duda briefing NATO officials on the proposed deal this week. Presidents Duda and Trump are due to meet at the White House on June 12th. The Polish People's Party has decided to withdraw from the Koalicja Europejska, while still intending to run on a joint list with the other opposition parties in elections for the Senate. The move follows internal dissent in the party, and reports that the party's move leftwards didn't sit well with its traditional rural and conservative support base. It remains to be seen if the PSL could in future work with Prawo i Sprawiedliwość should the parliamentary numbers dictate it. This week has seen extensive commemorations in Poland of two very important anniversaries: the 30th anniversary of the partially free elections of June 4, 1989, which put Poland on the road to democracy and away from communism, and the 40th anniversary of the first visit to his homeland of Pope John Paul II. The commemorations of the 1989 elections, which was to all seats in the Senate and 35% of the seats in the Sejm, centred on Gdansk, where a large round table, 15 metres in diameter, was symbolically constructed in the square between the European Solidarity Centre and the monument to the shipyard workers. The events, including discussions on the current state of Polish politics, featured addresses by 3 former presidents, Lech Walesa, Bolesław Komorowski and Aleksander Kwasniewski. The Gdansk mayor, Aleksandra Dulkiewicz, invited Prime Minister Morawiecki for talks at the round table, but he declined, as he was in the city for a Solidarity-organised event marking the 1979 papal visit. The main government commemoration was in Warszawa, where President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki delivered speeches in the Senate chamber. President Duda described the 1989 elections as a great triumph to change the world. On Wednesday, a group of parliamentary leaders and former dissidents from Central and East European countries met in Warszawa to discuss their shared history in the same. A point consistently made this week was that while the symbol of the fall of communism in 1989 was the opening of the Berlin Wall, it had all started in Poland, with the round table talks and the overwhelming victory of Solidarity in the elections of June 4, 1989. 10 years earlier, John Paul II paid his first visit as Pope to his homeland. The 9-day visit from June 2nd to 10th drew huge crowds. His inspirational moral leadership is credited with assisting the rise of Solidarity and giving the Polish nation the strength to overcome martial law, ultimately leading to the events of 1989. Also on Wednesday, Prime Minister Morawiecki joined world leaders in Portsmouth for D-Day anniversary commemorations. Jeśli chodzi o irlandzkie wiadomości. This was the week that US President Donald Trump fulfilled his pledge to visit Ireland, using the Trump Hotel and Golf Resort in Doonbeg, County Clare, for a stopover after his 3-day state visit to the United Kingdom, and as a base for his trip to Normandy today for the events commemorating the 75th anniversary of the 1944 D-Day landings. So far, the visit looks to have gone smoothly, with a scattering of protesters in the area, but with Trump supporters also in evidence, and much warmth for the visit from the local community. On Tuesday, Sinn Féin withdrew their request for a full recount in the Ireland South European Parliament constituency, after just a day of counting, once it became clear that they could not bridge the 326 vote gap between their outgoing MEP, Liad Ní Riada, and the Green Party's Grace O'Sullivan. The loss of the Ireland South seat capped a very poor election for Sinn Féin, in which it lost 2 of its 3 MEPs in the Republic and almost half its local authority representation, with their number of seats going down from 159 5 years ago to 81. The setback has prompted much internal introspection in the party. TD Eoin Ó Broin said at the weekend that Sinn Féin needed to change how it communicates its message, and that it came across to voters as too negative. The distribution of Ní Riada's votes saw Mick Wallace and Grace O'Sullivan elected, joining Sean Kelly and Billy Kelleher in the live MEP seats, while outgoing Fine Gael MEP Deirdre Clune was elected in 5th place, meaning that like Fianna Fáil's Barry Andrews in Dublin, she'll have to wait for the United Kingdom to leave the European Union to join the Parliament. Meanwhile, it's understood that the newly re-elected Ireland North West MEP, Mairead McGuinness, is in the running for the presidency of the European Parliament, a position she sought previously. She was a vice president of the outgoing Parliament. McGuinness commented herself that geography and gender were considerations which would come into play in the choice. On Monday, the talks at Stormont aimed at restoring the devolved power-sharing institutions resumed, with the Taoiseach and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, Simon Coveney, and the Northern Ireland Secretary of State, Karen Bradley, meeting the 5 main local parties. To date, the talks have taken place in working group format, focused on areas of contention. While the atmosphere is reported to be positive, with no one wanting to be blamed for failure, expectations of a breakthrough remain low. As you will have heard on Hello Irlandia, the Polska Era Festival is of course now in full swing at locations throughout the country. We hope that you'll take the time to join in some of the wide range of events taking place. For my part, I thoroughly enjoyed the Polska Era Friendship Run in Swords last Saturday. Well done to all the organisers. Tá všetko na Chinchidgen. Zapraszam na kolejny podsumowanie z tydzień o tej samej porze. Dobranoc.